They say a fairy's kiss brings blessings, beauty, luck, even love. But no one ever talks about what happens when a fairy's kiss goes wrong. There once was a 17-year-old girl named Lila Moore who always felt invisible. At school, she blended into the crowd, not the most beautiful, not the most popular, not even the funniest, just ordinary. But inside, Lila longed for something more. She wished that just once someone would look at her and truly see her. She dreamed of being special, glowing, magical, unforgettable. One chilly evening, as the moon rose over the quiet town, Lila was walking home from school through an old park. The air shimmered faintly as if the world itself was holding its breath. That's when she saw it, a flicker of light hovering near the bridge. At first she thought it was a firefly, but as she stepped closer, she realized it wasn't. It was a tiny fairy, its wings glimmering weakly like a dying ember. The fairy looked fragile and lost, her glow fading fast. Before Lila could react, the fairy rose in the air, touched Lila's forehead, and vanished in a burst of golden light. Lila stood there in shock. For a moment, she felt warmth rush through her body like sunlight under her skin. Then, the world went dark. The next morning, everything changed. When Lila looked in the mirror, she hardly recognized herself. Her skin shimmered softly, her hair seemed to shine, and her eyes sparkled as if the stars themselves had taken shelter inside them. At school, everyone noticed her. People stared. Whispers followed her wherever she went. Even the teachers seemed strangely drawn to her. Suddenly, she was a center of attention, the kind of girl she had always dreamed of being. At first, she was thrilled. She smiled brighter, walked taller, felt unstoppable. For the first time in her life, she was seen. But as days passed, the magic began to twist. Every night, Lila's reflection started changing. Her pupils flickered gold, and faint patterns appeared on her skin, like glowing veins spreading from her heart. When she touched her mirror, the reflection didn't move at the same time. It smiled back after she stopped smiling. She began to notice strange things happening around her too. Flowers wilted when she held them. The air around her shimmered when she cried. And at night, she could hear faint whispers, tiny voices calling her name from places she couldn't see. At first, she tried to ignore it, but soon she couldn't. The glow inside her kept growing, and with it, a feeling of emptiness, like something was feeding on her from within. One evening, as a storm rolled over the town, Lila ran back to the same bridge where it all began. The air was thick with lightning, and her body glowed brighter than ever. That's when she heard a familiar voice, soft, broken, and echoing in her mind. It was the fairy. The voice told her the truth. The kiss she received wasn't a blessing, it was a broken gift, a curse left behind by fading magic. The fairy's power had been corrupted, and by receiving it, Lila had become part of the fairy realm itself. The only way to break the curse was to let go of the very thing she desired most, her new beauty, her attention, her fame. It wasn't an easy choice. For a long moment, Lila stood in the rain, glowing brighter and brighter, torn between what she wanted and what she knew was right. Then, with tears mixing with the rain, she closed her eyes and whispered her wish to the wind, to be ordinary again. The glow around her cracked, then shattered into thousands of golden sparks that rose into the sky. The storm eased, the whispers faded, and when she opened her eyes, the light was gone. The next morning, Lila woke up in her room, sunlight spilling across her face. Her reflection looked normal again. No shimmer, no glow, just her. At school, people no longer stared. The attention was gone. The whispers had faded, but somehow she felt lighter, happier, more herself than ever before. That night, as she crossed the same bridge, she looked up at the sky and for a brief moment saw a tiny light dancing among the stars. Maybe it was just her imagination, or maybe the fairy was still watching, smiling, proud that Lila had learned what magic never could teach. That true beauty doesn't come from being seen, it comes from being real. And that's the end of my story. If you enjoyed the story, like, comment your favorite part, and subscribe for more magical fantasy and fairy tales. Bye!